Hello, this is another video about aspects of excuse me, aspects of GMAX and of getting models into Trainz. And this one I'm looking at is night mode, which is where you get aspects, bits of a model that light up when in Trainz. So this is my Great Western Railway yard lamp for operating for in a station yard or in a freight yard or whatever. And you can see it's a model of a oil lamp. You can see the vents there. I think it was oil rather than gas, ladder and everything, but part of it lights up because you want it to light up at night. Now there are two aspects about this. You can light up the actual point of illumination, which in this case is the lamp itself right in the middle there. And of course also it would be the glass surrounding it. You can see there's a hexagon of glass there, and it would also throw light, and I'm not brilliantly happy with the way in which Trainz does that, but anyway, we'll have a look. So let's have a look at what happens. So I'm in Surveyor. I've just got an ordinary route open here, nothing brand new route, nothing in it apart from this yard lamp. And here's the environment. I've gone up to main menu and I've edit environment, brings up the environment lighting, and this is the time of day, which is always, that's the default time of day. So I'm going to put the clock back. There we are. You can see there's the sun unrising in the morning, and turn it back. There we are, and give it a moment or two, and there it is, it's come on. And you can see what's happened there is the glass sections there have become illuminated, and also the oil, that core that you get in the center of an oil lamp, which is where the wick is burning away. There's a bulge slightly down there. I'm not going to zoom in because go flying around all over the place. And also you get this, and you can see it's not bad. I can see there's a couple of little artifacts that I should have got rid of. But it's illuminating an area. Now that is actually, well, let's have a look. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the lamp and I'm going to move it very quickly, and you can see what's happening there. The actual daytime mesh is moving, and it takes a moment for the nighttime mesh, the extra bit of it, to catch up. If you look quickly, you can see in the body of the lamp up here, the daytime mesh is there. driving it crazy. Look at that. Look, and it's but it does catch up with it eventually, or after a moment or two. Poor old Trainz. I'm really not treating it well. So let's take the time of day back to daylight, and mucking about like this, sometimes it does take a moment or two to turn. There it is, it's turned off. But that indicates to you exactly how this night mode is operating. It's in fact an extra mesh which only appears during the hours of darkness, according to the Trainz clock, and it's actually over the top of the mesh for the daytime, so it's obscuring it by having this nighttime mesh. And you can see there, when I went there, you can see the colour of the light. We'll get it to light up again. Come on, wakey wakey. It does take time. So it's in there. It is in Surveyor. This is in Surveyor, of course. So it does, and this changes, I've noticed, between Trainz 2012, Trainz in New Era, and Trainz 2019. Some of the time lag, although it may be my PC, I don't know. But what's actually happening is that, as I say, you've got the extra mesh. You can see it wobbling around there until it settles. There we are. That extra mesh is switched on by the Trainz graphic engine when it's nighttime for this particular object, and that's because I've told it these are the elements that go together to make a nighttime lamp for oil lamp, and that's why I've chosen this color. So the color that the light gives, it doesn't have to be white. Try and think about if you're lighting up a particular lamp, the type of lamp is really important. So early lamps, oil, gas, would have had a very yellow tinge to them, Early electric lights, similarly, they're quite yellow. For those of us who can remember the ordinary light bulbs, the incandescent light bulbs, not these modern long life, whatever they are, things, you didn't get a very white light, but now everybody's got halogens in their cars and in their lights in their houses, and it's all very white. So for those sort of lamps, if you're modelling a modern, let's try to turn it off. It's not going to go, is it? There it is. If you are modelling a modern lamp, then you do want a white, that white, very bright white halogen-like light. And then if we have a look in the, where are we? Editing. No, there's scenery. There it is. This is my this is in File Explorer, and this is the lamp here, GWR lamp, and you see I've moved it into here because I've actually taken it from Content Manager. Where are we? There it is. There's Content Manager, and this is my own. This is just showing my content installed, and there's the yard lamp, which was actually installed 14th of August, almost 3 years ago. That's when out, and it's build version 3.5 for anybody who's interested there, and that's an update of my original version, which was I think 2.1 or 2.4 or something daft like that. Anyway, there it is. So it's running in Trainz 12, Tain and 2019. Okay, so let's have a look at the lamp. So obviously when you're creating this in GMAX, then you'll need to make, just close that down, you'll need to make both the lamp itself like this, which is pretty straightforward scenery item, and a separate mesh which is the lit up bits at night, which includes that strange patch in the bottom there, which I think looks, it's alright for lamps like that, but some of them it's not really all that good. Okay, so there's the GWR. Let's have a look in. So the first thing you want to notice is that there is a subfolder called night, and otherwise we've got the config, the usual config, and we've got the texture txt file for the texture, and there's well, let's sort them out according to type. I much prefer that. Go back down here. These are the textures: frames, glass, iron decoration. And that iron decoration is just those curly bits. There's some curly bits somewhere, I think down here. I can't quite remember now, such a while back. Anyway, so those there, that is all textures. Okay, and that's the texture up there, that's the texture up there, those are the counterparts of glass and iron decoration. And if you're not sure about how you're using glass BMP and glass TGA, then you've got to have a look at another video, because I'm not going to go into that here. That's our screenshot, and this is our night subfolder, so let's have a quick look at that. And we've got something here as well. Let's get the type sorted out. We've got lamp alpha and lamp color, and then we've got frames, and those are all the textures, and then we've got night. Okay, so now if I load up, if I double click on that, the screen's going to go blank for a moment, and it'll load up PevSoft's mesh viewer, and we get a little diddling. Now just give it a moment. Here we are, and that's the entire mesh for the night. There you can see there. So that I've created this in GMAX after I've made the original. If we go up to this is the yard lamp mesh, so this would be the full thing in daytime. There it is, just as we see it in Trainz. Okay, so that is one complete mesh rather than mess. And let's have a look. And then this is the night mesh. Okay, and this bit is only turned on by Trainz, switched on by Trainz at night in darkness. And if we zoom in a bit, you can see here, I'm not going to go into GMAX to show you this because it's pretty pointless, because it's just the same as this. But you can see there I've got the meshes, it's just the glass panels, and the inner piece, which is the cone of cone of an oil lamp, sort of things you see in, I don't know, Downton Abbey and all the rest of it. There's period dramas. They always seem to have an oil lamp, and I like these oil lamps because they do give a lovely soft glow. Okay, so that's our meshes. So we've got that is our night mesh, and if I just put this down a minute, that's our day mesh, just showing in Trainz. But let's go back into our main folder, of which that was a subfolder, and now let's look at the config text. Okay, so it's scenery, that's the class and the region. Username, that's my name I've given it, that's the description. Hardly the most inventive, but there you go, just a few same words. Light 1, definitely. Trainz build 3.5, night mode lamp. Okay, nothing in the obsolete table, nothing to obsolete. And then in the mesh table we've got two entries. We've got the default mesh, which is this is the daytime lamp, and we definitely want it created. And then we've got a second reference here in the mesh table to default night. Then we open that and we've got mesh, and now it's going into the subfolder. There's the subfolder called night, and there's the mesh for the night, and then night mesh base default. All the rest is pretty straightforward. Thumbnails, me, the wrong web address. Dearie me, yeah, quite somewhere else now. John's hosting me now, which is really good of it, and all my guff about license, and there it is, 2006. It's now 14 years doing this, my goodness. Anyway, and there's the KUID, and there's the table for if there were any KUIDs used inside. So it's a pretty simple, straightforward scenery config. This is crucial that you get this right, of course, and they get in these little sort of swirly, squiggly brackets. There's probably a technical name for them. Strapping brackets, I think that's what they're called. Anyway, whatever they are, you've got to make sure you get this criteria, this hierarchy exactly right. Otherwise it does things like it treats this as the same as this, and you don't want that at all, because it'll just not load, it'll just not function properly. It'll give you a fault in Content Manager, and you'll get nowhere with it. But it's a pretty straightforward process once you get the knack, and you find yourself being tempted to put night meshes into any number of things. I mean, you can put them on buildings. I'm just trying to think where I can navigate. No, it's too much of a hassle. But you can have buildings with night modes, of course. So you light all the windows up. I wonder if it's just got me thinking there. If I've got the County Donegal Railways. I think it was Donegal Station. I had some lighting up. Donegal Carriage Footbridge Shelter. There's Donegal Station. Oh, station canopy, that's no good. There's the station house. Let's have a look. I can't remember now if I had anything. Let's say give it a go. We know the yard lamp should light up eventually when Surveyor gets the inclination. Come on. Yeah, there we are. I've got some windows lighting up. I've forgotten about that. And so if we go in and have a look, there we are. Somebody's awake in the station house. Isn't that nice? And somebody's that's the gents loo on the end, the gents lavatory. So somebody's in there. Alright, so could make some rude remark, but I won't. There you are, there's the station house, and all of that, if we were to zoom right in, we would see that these panels are actually about ½ an inch out from the daytime mesh. And that's the other aspect about making your meshes here. These meshes need to be outside of, okay, so that means up and out a little bit, tiny amount, a few millimeters in the actual size of the however many feet the model is. You know, I mean that's going to be quite a few feet long there, isn't it? About, I don't know, was it 60 foot, something like that. Oh, we got another one over there. How did that get in there? Must have I was clicking on things. So we delete that. We don't want lots of copies of Donegal Station. Oh, that'd be very nice. Yeah, so that's the other aspect. I suppose I should have mentioned this, shouldn't I? Of course, in GMAX, what you do is you make sure. Let's. I don't know if we'll see it. Let's move it a little bit. Maybe we can. Yeah. Look. There we are. So you can see now the separate lit up bit. If I move that quickly, it takes a moment for Surveyor just to. And you see them there. Look. There it is. There's the lit up one. Right, like will o' the wisps. Okay, so that panel, that lit up panel, let's move it back. There will be about ½ an inch further out this way. So make sure that you've got enough thickness in your window frame to allow for that to sit ½ an inch out from the ordinary position that you have your windows in. These blank windows I use a fair bit because you can have them on buildings without having to have details inside of them. If you use plain glass, it just shows you a hole in the building. Let's take it back to daytime. Eventually the lights will go out. Gosh, they're a profligate lot, aren't they? Oh, the light's going to go out. There they are. It takes a moment or two in Surveyor. Not so much so in Driver. So basically what's happened now, and this is a really old model now, when I look at this I cringe at some of the things I've done here. But anyway, so that means that this, if we zoom right into this, the distance between this plane, which has got this texture on it, and the front of the window frame, which is that distance there. Can I zoom in anymore? No. Anyway, there, that's daytime, but if we turn it into night, I wonder if we'll see a change. Should just stand in front of it. Come on, light up. There you go, light up. There we are. So now I'm back into the same amount of zoom, and there's less room there. It's only a tiny amount, but it's enough for this plane, the lit up, the illuminated plane, to be in front of the unilluminated plane. And what you have to make sure is that your illuminated plane is of course a separate texture and is lighter in colour than the non-illuminated pane when you choose to texture. So when you I mean, it's pretty obvious here with the yard lamp, because here we've got let's come up a bit. Here we've got clear glass, more or less. There's a little bit of green in my clear glass, so that's old glass. I forget who gave me that tip, but there's a little bit of green in it. That used to be an aspect of it. So this is clear glass, but when you light it up, so it's textured with the glass texture, which uses opacity, or reduces the opacity. Now come on, light up. Come on, people. There we are, light up. And you can see there it's just a different colour, and it's a bright colour, and this the same. Wow, you can see in daytime how really bright it is. Yeah, the lights are going out. The lights are going out all across Donegal Station. Like the smoke. Obviously somebody's got the bacon on in the morning. So there we are. That gives you an idea of night mode. It's not so much the modelling of it, because I think that's pretty straightforward. You can see my other videos on how to make planes and shapes and all that sort of thing in GMAX, and all you're doing is exporting something textured slightly differently and positioned slightly differently. If you're inside a carriage, if you wanted the interior walls of a carriage to be illuminated at night, then again what you would do is you take a copy of the carriage, and in that copy you delete in GMAX everything except the interior face of each side of the carriage, and the ends of the carriage, and the faces of the any partitions, and you would move them inwards slightly, that is into the carriage. So for a partition, it's actually like moving it away from the partition of fraction. I'm not going to start showing illuminated carriages, but the Liverpool overhead ones I did, just the most recent ones I did, they're illuminated at night, but not brightly. You don't want it bright. You know, it's not searchlights across the night sky or anything like that. They're just lit. But the lighting back in the day is unlike today. It's not that bright, so you shouldn't, you know, for the effect, if you're doing earlier stuff, not bang up to date stuff. I mean, if you're doing the latest sort of stuff that runs on the railways, then sure, have very bright lights, you know, very bright colours, almost white colours inside your carriages or buildings or whatever. That's up to you. I'd like the old subtle colours. So there we are, that's night mode. Hope that's been of help. If you've got any queries or comments or questions, sensible queries, comments or questions, I picked that up from another YouTuber. They've got to be sensible, folks. Then please do post them and I'll aim to answer them and give you some hints as to what to do and try and solve any problems.